very briefly, I was driving back from school, having dropped my kids off, and there was a great radio show called Reunion, which was about the women that had been part of the strike in 1968 that led to equal pay. And two things that struck me very quickly were how funny they were and how hilarious their adventures at striking for the first time were, and also that this strike led to equal pay for women, and I had no idea that for Dagenham that the Equal Pay Act was born.
I thought it was fantastic. I thought, like Stephen, this would make a great film because it is the story of the underdog coming to the surface and becoming empowered, and what's more, it's based on true events, and it's about women, and there's very few films that are made about women. And there's a huge female audience. I think this one will cross over, hopefully, outside, and is not gender specific in terms of its entertainment value. But just to say, to put the development in context, is at the time we had what was called a slate deal from the UK Film Council, and it was a match funding deal where you got 50% development money from them for a slate of projects, and then we had to match the other 50%. And we had a relationship with Film 4, with Tessa Ross and Catherine Butler, on a few other projects. So we sent the CD of the radio program to them first off, once we decided we wanted to make it, and said, is this something that would interest you? So that was the first step, really, was we needed to acquire the rights to the radio program. And then we needed to hire the script writer, but before we did that, we needed to know that we had the development funding in place.
So we always said this was a working class version of Calendar Girls. It's about a bunch of women who don't know what they're doing. They set off on this adventure and they achieve something that was beyond their imagination as a group, as a group of people. And having said constantly through 2 or 3 year process, it's kind of a working class Calendar Girls. The director of Calendar Girls walks through the door and says, I love this script.
We chose Nigel because we had decided from the outset that we wanted to make a film that reflected the spirit and the humour of the women and wasn't a political diatribe, and Nigel seemed to be the right person who could combine drama and comedy in the way that we wanted to. I would say two things. In terms of a business thing, it's great to have a partner. I think it really, really helps to have a partner who's like-minded, so that you're there to support each other, fire ideas off each other, and it is a very up and down process developing something. We lost one director, we lost another director, then we lost Film 4, and it's great if there's two of you to sort of keep going through that. And the other thing to start with in terms of packaging is the script is everything. The idea and the script is everything. That doesn't mean to say that everyone's going to get your script, but if you really, really believe in it, and you've got some followers there, that's really what's going to get your cast and your directors and your financiers.
And I think, just to back up what Liz is saying, I think partnership is really, really important, because I think that you must understand, or one must understand, that cinema and film is a collaborative process. It isn't about the individual director or the individual writer or the individual star. We've seen lots of movies with great stars that are flops, and lots of films from great writers that don't work, and directors are equally as fallible. So it's always going to be a combination of the people involved. So you may as well accept that from day one and realise that collaboration, finding friends, like-minded people that you can work with as producers, as writers, as director, is crucial. It's safety in numbers. That's really important. The other important thing about safety in numbers and playing the numbers game is don't get attached to one project. Is try and keep 1 or 2 projects going with that same group of people or with another group of people. It doesn't really matter. There's no point in putting all your eggs in one basket. You can say, okay, with that particular project, which is set here in Newcastle, these people are great to work with, but this project, which may take me from Newcastle to Cornwall, well, then I should go and see the people down there, because they'll know, and I make them my friends. The whole point is to try and is not to just say we could say we spent 4 years making this film, which is true, but we made other films over that process.
And what also tends to happen with development and with financiers is, we have at any one time probably about 10 projects in development.
Sure.
at various stages, but something that you think is far away, you send it to a director, and it could be a fantastic director who just gets it, and they may be a writer-director, or they know how to solve some problems with a script, and then suddenly that project has jumped ahead and is one that you think, I mean, we have a script that's set in Cairo that we sent to director recently, and we thought, oh, we're not sure if he'll really appeal to him, but let's just go for it, let's send it to him. And we knew that it's almost there, but it needs another push. And the director said, I love it, I think it's fantastic, it's one of the best things I've read. And you think, oh great, so actually that looks likely to go ahead next year, whereas, I mean, still a long way off.
It's likely that we can start to put the pattern together, the jigsaw
put
together.
It together. So it is important to have a few things. I know development is, you know, the hardest money to come by, and the easiest way to just throw money down the drain that, you know, you just don't know if you're going to see back. But it is important to keep a few things going, and also not to fixate on one particular deal, you know, look around for others that you can run in parallel. Anyway, so we had a budget done, we knew what we needed, so we had the BBC broadcast and equity deal, then we had Hanway with a sales agent, and you pretty much had done the pre-sale to Paramount for the UK, which triggered pre-sales, as Stephen said, in France, Italy. It was France, Italy, and Germany, the pre-sales.
Yeah, and other areas like Scandinavia.
Smaller territories.
It was Cannes 2009, where we did 2 days of We Want Sex, and we had Nigel Cole fly over for a day, and Sally. And we did a little press conference with the BBC and Nigel and Sally, and at that Cannes, we managed, based on the screenplay, to make some fairly decent sales.
So just to let you know, by now, we're about 2 weeks away from the start date,
close to
principal
shooting,
photography,
and we
with
don't
no
have
money.
we don't have the cash isn't in the bank. Everybody's there, the deals are all there, and I'm going crazy running around trying to put all the deals together with all the various lawyers.
There was about 800.
There was
£800,000
£800,000 that we were short of, and the UK Film Council, I proposed UK Film Council for 400 up, and we get the rest from a Wales fund, investment fund, because we were shooting. We found a location in Wales, a Hoover factory, that would be perfect. Our art director, a designer, had gone out there and found this Hoover factory, which was perfect for the Dagenham, the place you've just seen there, this place, to cover for that, without spending a huge amount of money, because it looked so horrible. So because of that, because we're going to shoot 2-3 weeks in Wales and do other stuff in Wales and using the same location, we could access this Welsh money. But then, as I started to access the Welsh money, I realised that it was a bit of a nightmare. It wasn't as straightforward as it seemed. There were lots and lots of problems with accessing that money. It was really dispiriting, and I suddenly, in the middle of a meeting with lawyers, it occurred to me what the solution was. And I said, I have to go to the British Film Council. I walked out of the room, there were about 10 lawyers in the room, and I went to the Vince's office and I said, please don't throw me out the window. He's on the 5th floor of his building, but I know how to make the numbers work. Forget Wales, you put more money in. If you put 800 in, the numbers will work. And he went into his computer and he went ding, 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 ding. Oh yeah, they do work.